There was a time when darkness preferred the shadows. It hid in corners, it whispered in secrecy, it operated in the background. But we are no longer living in that time. We are living in an hour where darkness is no longer hiding behind the shadows. It is walking boldly in the streets. It is speaking loudly through culture. It is preaching from pulpits. It is shaping narratives. And perhaps most concerning of all, it is smiling through wounded people who have unknowingly surrendered their hearts. This is not just a moral decline. This is not just a cultural shift. This is a spiritual reality. Because Satan is not only recruiting spirits, he is recruiting people. And the frightening part is this: not everyone he recruits knows they've been recruited. Not everyone who has switched sides realizes they've crossed the line. Because the enemy rarely comes with a red suit and horns. He comes disguised. He comes subtle. He comes patient. He comes through doors we leave open. And many of those doors are not obvious sins. They are wounds. Satan often recruits through bitterness. It starts with pain, a betrayal, a disappointment, a moment you didn't deserve. And instead of healing, bitterness settles in. At first, it feels justified. You replay what happened. You rehearse the offense. You remind yourself why you have a right to feel this way. But bitterness is never passive. It grows. It begins to distort how you see people. It hardens your heart. It whispers things like, "Don't trust again. Don't forgive. Protect yourself at all costs." And slowly, what started as pain becomes poison. And before you know it, you're no longer just hurt. You're being used. Satan also recruits through pride. Now, pride is dangerous because it doesn't look like weakness. It looks like strength. It says, "I don't need correction. I already know enough. I'm above that." Pride resists accountability. Pride rejects humility. Pride builds a throne in the heart and sits you on it. And the moment self takes the throne, God is no longer leading, because God will not compete with pride. And what feels like confidence can quietly become rebellion. Another thing that Satan does is that he recruits through trauma. Trauma changes you. It reshapes how you think, how you trust, how you respond. And if trauma is not healed, it becomes a lens. You begin to see everything through pain. You expect abandonment. You anticipate betrayal. You assume the worst. And without realizing it, you start reacting not from truth, but from what hurt you. And the enemy doesn't have to control you directly. He just has to let your unhealed trauma lead you. Satan recruits through unhealed rejection. Rejection leaves marks. It tells you you're not enough, not chosen, not valued. And if that wound isn't healed, you will spend your life trying to prove something God already settled. You will chase validation. You will compromise standards. You will attach to people and places that were never meant for you. All because rejection is still speaking. and the enemy will gladly use that voice to lead you away from truth. Offense is one of the most common traps. It feels small at first. Something someone said, something someone didn't do, something that didn't go your way. But instead of addressing it, you carry it. And what you carry eventually carries you. Offense turns into distance, distance turns into division, division turns into deception. And suddenly, you're isolated. And isolation is where deception thrives. And here is the sobering truth. Many who are fighting today do not even realize they have switched sides. They still speak the language. They still attend the gatherings. They still look the part. But their heart, their perspective, their spirit has aligned with something else. Because when bitterness leads you, you are not reflecting Christ. When pride governs you, you are not following Christ. When trauma dictates your responses, you are not walking in freedom. When offense controls your relationships, you are not operating in truth. This is not about condemnation. This is about awareness. Because you cannot correct what you refuse to confront. And the enemy's greatest strategy is not always destruction, it is deception. If he can make you believe you are fine while you are slowly drifting, he doesn't have to fight you. You will defeat yourself. But here is the hope. No matter how far someone has drifted, they can return. No matter how subtle the deception, truth still breaks through. No matter how deep the wound, healing is still available. Because light is still stronger than darkness. And truth still has authority over lies. But it requires something. It requires honesty. It requires the courage to say, "Search me. Reveal what I cannot see. Show me where I've allowed things to take root." Because spiritual maturity is not pretending you're strong. It's being aware enough to know where you're vulnerable. My friend, you have to guard your heart. Not casually, not occasionally, but intentionally, because what gets into your heart will eventually come out.